What's up? David here. And today I want to talk to you about the 3 levels of motivation. And this idea was actually sparked from one of my mentors. He told me about this concept and it completely changed the way I look at motivation. So let's take a look at the 3 different levels, okay? So there is the low level of motivation, there is the middle or the day-to-day type of motivation, and then there's something what we call higher motivation. So the low level of motivation, this is more coming from the framework of like a selfish need, like a selfish want, like a selfish fire of motivation, if you will. So this is more fueling the ego and fueling like the petty little me. Doing things because you want something. Doing things because you want to show to the world how good you are. Doing things because you want to get revenge on somebody. And you know, they say that success is the best type of revenge, right? So this is coming from that framework, that low type of motivation. It's all about me, and feeding the ego. But here's the thing. Like, if you actually ask yourself, okay, is this type of motivation good? Does it actually produce results? And from my life, I want to say that yes. In fact, this is how I got started. And a lot of my like business ventures and a lot of things that I started like way back, you know, I don't do this much anymore, but way back then, this is how I actually got started and actually sparked the motivation for me, right? It was like to prove people wrong or to show that I can do this, right? It was to prove people wrong. So if this type of motivation is useful for you, especially when you're beginning, then it's like, let's kind of use this, let's use this motivation. It's like, why not? Let's use all the tools in the arsenal that we can to get us to our one goal. And by the way, what we're trying to do with these 3 levels of motivation is we're all trying to point every single one of these, the low level, the middle level, and the high level, all towards the result that we want to get, or maybe it's like a goal that we want to achieve, okay? We all want to point this like a laser, pointing to a target and creating intense heat and fire into getting to our destination, our goal. So that is the low level. And you're going to find that you're going to oscillate through these 3 different levels, okay? And the more and more you get experience in this, the more and more you grow and your personal development, the less that you'll find in the lower levels of motivation. But that definitely helps to get a start in things, right? To spark that fire of motivation, to get something going. So that is a low level. Let's now talk about the next 2 levels. So the middle, or like the average, or like a day-to-day type of motivations. So this is the way I see it. It's kind of like going after your goals, right? Going after your goals, or like getting the habits into place, being consistent, being disciplined, that kind of inspiration. And it's more like when you're watching like an inspirational video of like people like living, like living their dream life, they're traveling everywhere. That is that type of motivation, like the middle ground motivation. And definitely this middle type of motivation is absolutely useful in getting to your goals, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen an inspirational video online and you got really inspired, but that inspiration didn't really last for too long, did it? It maybe lasted a week, sometimes an hour, and then that motivation type, it kind of dies down, right? Same thing with the low level motivation, by the way. That dies down even quicker than you think. So that is the middle type of motivation. And again, we all want to be using the different types of motivation to get us to our main goal. So now let's talk about the higher self, the higher type of motivation. And this is kind of synonymous with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, at the very top, there's that section called self-actualization, right? And this is, it's very equivalent to like higher purpose, higher motivation. So this type of motivation, it's, you're out of the ego now. You're not being selfish, but you're doing it for something that is greater than yourself. Maybe it's something global. Maybe it's something to add some kind of value to the world. Maybe it's to help other people. So you're doing something from a selfless type of perspective. You're doing it more for others than it is for yourself. And this is the higher self-motivation. And Tony Robbins always said this a lot, but he said that reasons are stronger than outcome. Reasons are stronger than outcome. Meaning if you have a strong enough why, if you have a strong enough reason to do something, the outcome makes it's just that much easier to achieve the outcome or the goal that you want. So let's go back to the higher self-motivation. Okay, the higher self-motivation should be your ultimate why. Okay, that should be the strongest fire, the strongest like eternal fire, I would say, of producing fire and spark and inspiration for potentially a lifetime. And here is one of the reasons why I'm able to produce videos like this. One of the reasons why I am so motivated to get this message across to you. I'm actually operating from the higher self. And this higher self of me, my reason is because I want to add value to your world. I want to change your life in the best way possible. And here is a question that really brings that inner fire within me. And it's an undying question that I have in my head. The question is, do I matter? Do I matter? looking back at the end of life and looking back on it all, that question that I want to ask myself at the end of life is, did I matter? Did I matter? And that question brings me so much fire. Even right now, you can see the passion in my eyes. It brings me so much fire and motivation that it just shatters through all resistance, all excuses, and anything that gets in the way of me delivering this value that I want for the world. So, maybe that is a useful question to you as well. Do you matter? Do you matter? At the end of life, did your life matter? But don't just use that question. Come up with your own questions too. Come up with your own purpose. And use all the levels, because they are all useful in their own ways. But create that strong drive, that strong enough why. And those obstacles that get in the way, it's so easy to shatter. They'll simply become specks in the air. So that's it for this video. And remember that question. If you ever have a hard time, do you matter? Do you matter? Talk to you in the next one.